Welcome back to a new video. So this video will have a bunch of sessions in it throughout the week. I think Monday through Friday, I think all of the sessions I have on here. So a bit of a longer video, but that's just mostly because I got lazy editing. And I also tried to fix some memory things on my computer. My, I guess, computer drive? Let me look. My C drive. So the C drive that comes with the main part of the computer was getting a bit full, and I wanted to move things to my HDD or my D drive because it has a bunch of memory on it. So I was trying to move some programs from there. So I uninstalled and reinstalled Sony Vegas, which I used to edit, to put on there, which wasn't that difficult of a process. But when you kind of do that during the week, then you just kind of don't really want to spend all that time, reinstalling or uninstalling and reinstalling things. But I have it all squared away with all the programs that I needed. Because basically I just should have been installing programs on my SSD or whatever it's called, more so than the local drive. And it's not really, I'm not really a technical computer person, but I just look at the memory thing and I want my local drive to just have memory. And I have a ton of space on my HDD or D drive or whatever. So just wanted to utilize that just a little bit more. So it can actually, make sure there's not any issues with things running on my computer. I found a neat little program as well that was really useful. I think it's called Tree Size. Because inevitably, when I have tech issues, you're going through YouTube or whatever, and I was able to find it, and it shows you like what programs are taking up space. And some of the things that were taking up space were just like duplicates of things I tried to install. One instance was just old files of recordings. So like the recording that I'm making now, it would just go to a folder that's on my local drive. And each audio file is not large, but they just accumulate because they, just never get deleted. So like little stuff like that helped, but also just duplicates of like Steam and stuff that I was able to move over to my other one. A baseball game that I was trying to play on Steam that broke down, I had to get a chargeback for, which is really annoying because Steam is not really nice with those kind of things. After you play it for just a couple hours, they're like, yeah, you're basically on the hook for the game. Which is kind of, I get in a sense, but it was after an update the game stopped working entirely. So it was like, yeah, I paid for this game and I played it when it worked, and now it doesn't function. And it's something I guess other people have had issues with as well. But thankfully, at least as of now, I did get the chargeback, refunded. So I was able to get, it was like $53, so it wasn't too cheap, but it wasn't like I paid, $500 or something for it. So I wasn't that worried either way, but it's nice to kind of like have a justifiable reason why you want your money back. And my credit card, which was through my bank Huntington, they were able to do a chargeback with it. Hopefully it sticks. I think they have to, I guess they give you the money initially, and then if there's an issue, then they bring it back, or they'll recharge you for it, I guess. But who knows? But that was one of the things I found. So like that installed program was still on there, even though it didn't function, because I was trying to install it a bunch of different times. Thankfully, I didn't like make a bunch of different folders or whatever. It just was there on my local drive, which did not function. So there was no purpose of it being there. But alas, all of that just to say that moving some files and programs around just to make my computer run a bit more efficiently, or at least not run into issues in the future. As far as how stuff goes, I actually had an interesting experience this week. My brother, he's from up where I grew from, so near Akron, Cleveland, Ohio, where I grew up. He was coming down through Cincinnati. He's actually going to North Carolina, which, if you've ever been to Northeast Ohio and you drive through to North Carolina, I guess you could probably drive it a couple different ways, but you usually kind of come down towards this part of Ohio typically. Maybe you drive to a different part of maybe like southeast Ohio more so, but it kind of just depends on the highways, because you kind of have to get through. For me, when I went to North Carolina, when I was lived in Cincinnati, I had to go through Tennessee and obviously Kentucky as well. So like for me, it was right there. But I think even if you were driving up there, you have to go through. But what he actually did, because I think he's doing work around the Cincinnati area anyway, as well, but he dropped his car off at my house during the week, and so we visited for a little bit yesterday, and he brought me a nice bottle of spirits from Tennessee, so I was able to have something stronger than what I would typically have. So that was really nice of him, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. Now that I live by myself, I have lots of space in my driveway, so it wasn't like a big to-do to just have his car there for a couple days, but saved him a bunch of miles from driving from Cincinnati to North Carolina and back to put all those miles on the car. So I was glad to be able to help him out with that and to be able to see him. Usually, we don't see each other necessarily infrequently. It's the most common is when I go up for holidays. He's always around for those, so it's usually at that point. We're not ones to typically drive down in me or in Columbus or wherever. Would be kind of in between. You're not that kind of family, and plus that's just a lot of driving. But that was a fun experience to have that kind of randomly, because originally he was going to pick up his car in the middle of Friday during the day when I was at school, and so I might not have been able to see him, but then I ended up getting delayed, so kind of worked out with that. But I think he does, I forget what he's doing for work, something with like adding security systems or something with like kind of not necessarily IT, but something to do with like installing technology. So like the wiring and like the infrastructure that goes into stuff, from my understanding, but I didn't really ask him too much about that. But that was a nice little thing to have. So now I have some spirits to enjoy throughout the week. But it's really strong stuff, so I won't be having a ton of it, most likely, very frequently. It's probably just on weekends a little bit, but it's quite nice. The other thing I wanted to do, and I think I mentioned this in the community post where I mentioned my laziness with the editing, is that I want to start scheduling live streams for the weekend. So when I play chess or whatever, and I can kind of plan when I go online for those, or when I start to stream for those, to start to put those online. So if people wanted to stop by, they could. Most of the time I've been doing vertical live streams with that, just because it allows, there's a more likelihood of it being discovered by random people from what I've been finding. But what's been really cool is when I've been live streaming my training sessions, I've had like the same people come and hang out and chat during that, so that's been really fun. And the vertical live streaming for my training sessions is particularly useful because I'm able to actually capture my session. When I have my phone to the side, it obviously makes it so it looks like a normal YouTube video, but the lens for any phone I've had is not wide enough for the shed, so it gets, I think I can set it up in a certain way, but it's a big process. And when I have it vertical, it catches enough of the training session, and it is I don't really look back at the live streams, but anytime I've glanced through it just to see if everything's lined up or whatnot, it catches the main lifts. And obviously I still have my normal camera to have the higher quality for these kind of videos, but I've been enjoying doing that. As the winter comes and I'm not training out in the shed very often, or almost at all probably for a couple months, most likely I'm not going to go out there and do stuff, but I've been enjoying those, and it's been kind of like it's a nice little challenge in a sense, because you have the live stream to kind of be a actual distraction, and then because I have the live stream going, I don't have music playing, so it's a challenge in kind of two different realms. But there's definitely positives and negatives to it, but I've been kind of enjoying having it, and I'm getting used to having it play while I'm lifting, and just kind of having that added pressure of trying to look like you're not an idiot when you're lifting, which is always an internal struggle. But speaking a little bit about these sessions that have been playing by, that Monday session was the blocks. I was really happy to get up to 120. The 120, I would say, felt pretty good. It definitely was starting to drift a little bit forward, but just definitely happy to get up to there. I tried to do a triple with 110 kind of randomly. When I did the first one, I was like, I'm going to try to double it. And because when I did that 100, it felt really difficult. So I didn't do a double with 105, but then I got to 110. I thought that was going to be my top set. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to try to double it. And once I did a double, I was like, we're going to go for 3 and see how that works. But honestly, like, the triple felt good. Just definitely, obviously, the third rep slowed down too much where I wasn't able to get it. The 115 felt good, and doing the 120. And then the power cleans from the blocks were kind of weird because I had straps, took the straps off, put it back on. But matched my lifetime block power clean PR with 120. I'm pretty sure I haven't done 125 before. Maybe 125 is my PR, but power cleans from the high blocks are impossible. I can't get any speed generated on the bar from that position. But the push presses, I was really happy to do the double, even though it was kind of stinky. just to get it for, even for one, I would have been happy with. And I wanted to leave these in. This is the first time that I've done just, I guess, lunges like this. I did walking lunges a couple times, and I did, I guess, Hatfield lunges, you can call them, but I basically had my hands on the bar doing them assisted. And I was really pleasantly surprised that I didn't have any sleeves or anything on my knees, and they really weren't bothering me. And it's a weird thing, but it's just kind of like when you do weightlifting a lot and you kind of just have sore joints. For me, these are always been uncomfortable, and I think as I'm getting comfortable with these, and you can even see, like, as I get into the rhythm of them, they look a little bit better, but they're not the most natural, they're not the best feeling motion. But I think for me, it's something that will be beneficial to have some sort of unilateral work, especially doing them like this, where I can kind of do them at the house as well as at the gym. At the gym, we have the turf or whatever there, so I could do walking lunges. But I want to eventually start loading these. I'm thinking I'm getting close to that point where I can hold a 10-pound plate, or at the house, hold one of the 10-kilo plates or something, and do the lunges with it and try to do some sets there. So getting a little bit easier, and I'm really trying to focus on, I know I'm still leaning forward, but that's kind of just how I'm built, but trying to stay back with it, and just trying to stay balanced. A lot of it's trying to make sure that I'm staying in the groove that's comfortable for my knees and whatnot, or like quad tendons, like it's not uncomfortable, and just trying to make sure that I'm just not hammering or trying to like crash into the ground with those. But actually, like, gives me a really good feeling with my quads and whatnot. So I was trying to use that knee sleeve down there to get it to be in a basically like a pad or whatever. And I might bring a towel out or something to have something where I'm not crashing into the ground or anything, but just give me something where I can kind of push into and not really be worried about potentially bumping my knee on the ground and, I don't know, hitting a nail or whatever random stuff is on the wood there, and just not really being worried about it. But really happy to do these. I think I did 3 sets of 10 with each leg, and it's been kind of the main accessory. I did hack squats and leg extensions like a week or two ago, and what I'm feeling with these lunges is not necessarily that these are better than those exercises, but they're ones I can do at the house and at the gym. So it's one that I can really push a little bit more, and they are a bit more unilateral in nature, which is good for me. And maybe the next step, I had this thought, I saw I don't even know, it was probably some Instagram reel or something, but someone was just doing a Bulgarian split squat, and I was like, I might be able to kind of progress and do those a little bit. But the problem with those is they're a little bit harder to set up, whether I'm at the gym or at the house, and that always kind of limits my desire to do a movement that's uncomfortable when it's difficult to set up. So probably won't do those, but the lunges I think will be good, and it's just a different kind of leg exercise for me, which is good in that sense. This was, I believe, Wednesday, and this is when I thought I was having a bad session because I didn't sleep that well, which was true, but I think the bigger reason is if I've lost a couple pounds this week. So actually this morning I was also under 233, so I was fluctuating between 232 and a half with sweatpants on, so probably a legitimate 232, and probably like 235 and a half if you count for those same sweatpants, because if I weigh myself in the morning, I just, whatever sweatpants or pants I wore to bed, I just weigh at the same time, just so the measurement's always consistent. If I was really worried for a competition, then obviously you kind of want to eliminate that extra weight just to get the most accurate measurement. But you can kind of make those estimates when you have the same kind of, I wear basically the same sweatpants, so it's a pretty consistent measurement. And, I'm 109 technically, so it's not as if I'm going to be overweight or anything like that. But these snatches felt really weird. You see all of them, they're like, my hips are kind of like shifting over and whatnot, and the 110 was pretty good. And all of them felt really bizarre. Like, I didn't have any misses, but they all felt like, not even, I don't know. It's just hard to describe. Like, the balance was just weird on them. Like, they was just shifting over, and I don't know if that's because of the weight loss a little bit. And, it's only a couple pounds, but the weight is seeming to stay there, and it's been odd because it fluctuated back up. So it was Thursday, it was 232 and a half or whatever, or 230. I think it ended up being 232 or whatever for looking at my actual weight, but on the scale it was like 232 and a half. And then the next day, I think I was like 235 and a half or 236 or whatever, like something between there. And then this morning, I'm recording this on Saturday, it's back to 232, and I was like, this is really interesting because I'm eating literally the same lunch every day at school. So it's not as if I'm not eating, and it was spinach, chicken thighs, and chickpeas, which I guess isn't a ton of calories, but I mean, it's just lunch, and it's typically better than what I would eat normally as far as the amount of calories. But I was like, I guess I might be losing weight. And I even tried to walk a little bit less while I taught and try to limit my steps a little bit because I still get 10,000 every day. Even on days where I was like, I'm going to just sit for a little bit or take breaks from walking around the gym, but still get 9 to 10,000 even in that case. And on a day where I wasn't really trying to limit it at all, I think I was like 13,500. And there's probably some days that I could probably get up to, if I really wanted to, I could probably get 15 to even if I was super crazy, probably get up to 20,000 if I was like actually really trying to throughout the day. But at that point, it would be like me really trying to move just an obnoxious amount during the instruction. But like on an average day, like not really trying to move, I was like 13,500, which, isn't that big of a deal. It's just movement, just walking and stuff. But the idea of your feet and your general recovery almost being impacted to a point where it's not positive. Like movement will be good for recovery, but there's a reason why I'll go home and like sit for a little bit before I go and train. It's just like you're just tired and you don't want to go and train after walking all of 5.5 miles in a day. But it's something I need to not necessarily manage more, but just kind of pay attention. And it's nice with the little watch I have, it tracks your steps. But at the end of that session at the gym, I tried to do the 1+2 with 140 and got really close with it. And I was actually able to do the 1+2 later at the end of this. On Friday, I was able to do it with a pow clean. And it's going to look like a full clean, but I have to assure you I did not bounce off the bottom and use a stretch reflex because it felt so difficult. Anytime. It's kind of like Lu Jiajun, like his power snatchers or whatever, where it's still like really below depth. So it's not technically a power in a sense, but if you have lifted weights at any point, you know how important the stretch reflex, that bounce out of the bottom. And when you catch a lift, even if it's you're not catching it above parallel for a true power, if you're not bottoming out, it still feels like a power. And I would say it feels more difficult when it's at that point, just because your body wants to finish, like the leverage is wanting you to get pulled down into that position. This session, I ended up trying to power clean and push press 125. I jumped right from this 100, kind of a dumb thing to do. Then been also liking no foot snatches. I think I did it twice this week. Might have even had a session where I did a pull plus a no foot snatch, which I remember feeling absolutely horrendous. I did not like. I think it was a day where I missed 100 like 3 times, where I was doing a pull plus no foot snatch. And the first time, so I didn't miss going up to that weight, but once I got to 100, the first pull plus no foot snatch I did, I forgot I was doing a no foot snatch halfway through the pull on the actual snatch. So I ended up just banging it off my hips and like kind of clarking it, but like I just forgot I was doing a no foot snatch. And so like I semi did one and semi didn't, and just didn't really try and lift, which was kind of hilarious. And then the second two, I was just too slow or too unathletic to do, unfortunately. Here is a 180 attempt, which did not go well, as you see. Should have just went to 170, but my ego got the best of me. Here is back to 40. Unfortunately, I have a little editing error on that one, but this was my Saturday session, so I did some, I guess it was regular snatches. I actually did a bunch of waves, and I went back and forth on these waves. And if you happen to have popped into the live stream, you would have heard me kind of contemplating what kind of session I wanted to do, and it just makes it really difficult for me to plan sessions when I just go back and forth with what I want to do and how I'm feeling as the session is going. Just kind of a maniac like that. So I was like, I'd probably just go up to 110. But like the session I wrote earlier, I was like, I would do waves and wave up to 110 3 times. And then as I'm doing it, I'm like, I'd probably just stop, just do 110 once, so I have energy to do other stuff. But then I got up to 110 the first time and I missed it. And I was like, well, I'm going to do it again. And I was like, actually, this is why I want to do waves. This exact reason, to go back down to lighter weights practice and then have another, as Ilya would say, another attack at that heavier weight. But I was really glad I did. Here's a miss there. Wasn't really too bad. I was just early on it, and then dropped back down to 100, 105, and then 110 again, and did 3 waves and was able to make it on all of those. That 100 was really nice, and that's where waves really come in useful, is that you have that air that you have with that weight that you missed, or just whatever thing that you felt on that top set, you're able to reinforce that positive position with a lighter weight where you're moving faster and you have a higher likelihood of doing it exactly correctly. And then you can apply that feeling that you had with, say, that 100, and then move it back down or move it back up to those heavier weights, and then just continue to, reapply it to a weight that's easier, and then try to mimic that same feeling with this heavier weight. So I think they're really useful, and it's a nice way to get in volume, because I mean, if you look at the session, even if you count the 110 that I missed, I had 3 attempts at 110, 3 attempts at 105, 3 at 100. So it's not really like a true triple in a sense, but you are getting that, those reps in, which is just good to do. But really happy with that. The last 110 kind of crashed me a little bit, but I was just happy to do a good enough rep to be able to get it. And then the power cleans is where my true insanity came in. So originally I was like, I'm just going to do full clean plus jerk and do 2 waves. I was going to go 120, 130, 140, and then do that again. So go back to 120 and go down. But then I got on 100. I said, screw it, I'm power cleaning this. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to go back to just doing full cleans. And then I went back and forth. I was like, I'll power 120. Like 120 is a pretty easy power clean for me. So power clean and jerk this. And the jerk felt pretty good. I'm starting to get a good rhythm back into my jerks. They're starting to get back by my head a little bit more, but the push presses are really helping with that leg drive, which is why I like doing them a lot if I'm trying to increase my jerk. Not so much that my shoulders get stronger, which obviously they will from push presses, but the leg drive is what the aggressiveness, the timing really carries over to my jerk really well. Then I did that 130 power. And then here is the 140 pow. Definitely a pow, because I did not have to catch on the bottom. You see I catch it and it drives me down. It looks like I'm bouncing out of the bottom. I can assure you it felt tremendously more difficult than if I had actually used my stretch reflex. But I was really happy with how I did the clean, because even if, I did a full clean there, I was in a position to do a full clean. But then you see here, I was actually able to do the 1+2 that I was unsuccessful earlier in the week. And I was happy with both the jerks. So the second one, I was able to push myself under a little bit there. But that was, Monday through Friday training. I don't know if this will be something I'll do each week. It was kind of nice not to edit throughout the week and then kind of just have one longer video. But I do kind of like having consistent videos like that. So you can let me know, which style that you like, which way would be better. Obviously less videos if it's one longer one, but could also go back to having the more frequent. I'll probably end up doing the shorter ones just because from editing, it's easier to kind of just edit shorter clips like that. But I'm open to doing either way. But in any case, look forward to seeing you all in the next video or a live stream, whatever you happen to stop by. I hope you all have a great day. Take care. Peace.